gonna put the timer on, so it'll buzz after 10 minutes.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Can I have it in my hand?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Mm.
there you
Okay.
go. Is it filming?
Yeah.
Okay.
So today I'm going to present my community project's final presentation, and the main theme is animal therapy, which I'll explain a little bit later. Okay, so goal, need, and community. My goal was to work with animal therapy, volunteering to an NGO, which takes dogs and other pets to several institutions in order to promote a more enjoyable lifestyle and new experiences for patients from an elderly house and from an orphanage. And together with this, I wanted to raise awareness for animal therapy and the project, and also worked with raising funds towards the end of the project. The need were the orphan children from Associação Malicuri and the residents of the elderly home Sociedade Beneficente Alemã, which live in constant risk because they have a very repetitive daily routine and are rarely experiencing new feelings and emotions, therefore lack of attention and love, and also entertainment and care, which was what we were trying to offer them. And the NGO I worked with was Patas Terapeutas, and the two institutions, SBA and AMC, which was the orphanage and the elder nursing home. So the choice of my project. In PYPA, I did an exhibition where I created a donation campaign together with my group for stray dogs. However, and that shows the love and care I have for dogs, and therefore I was considering to do something similar for my community project. But then I met the NGO Patas Terapeutas, which I would now be able to work not for the dogs, but together with them, and most importantly, to help many people in constant need of attention, offering them new experiences and more enjoyable daily routines. And of course, this goal was a challenge because I had to research a lot on animal therapy, which I had no idea what was and that existed. I was uncertain about the visits, considering the emotional part of it, if I was going to be able to handle with it. Also, I always had to be available on my Sundays and dedicated to the advocacy campaign, which involved a lot of communication for emails, text for the bulletin, presentation on the parent coffee. And also, a big challenge was selling the products on the Christmas Bazaar, which was my last action, because I didn't know how to approach the people and how they would be convinced and learn about the NGO to help and contribute. So it was definitely very challenging. So working alone. The majority of my colleagues worked on groups from 3 people, but I was really unsure when I decided to work alone because I was worried about the amount of work I would have to do. But I think I'm an independent person, and I decided to work alone because I have strong opinions and sometimes really demanding when working in groups. So I could do everything the way I wanted and on my own time. And for sure, I think this was a benefit for our next year, where we will have our personal projects in MIP5. But it was a lot of work I had to do. Knowledge and skills. I think that this project worked on basically the majority of skills we have, but strongly on communication, because I was constantly sending emails. I wrote a text for the bulletin and presented on the parent coffee. And there were constant meetings and communication for the NGO. But besides this, a lot of dedication, engagement, research, organization skills, meeting deadlines, and time management materials. And I think this is because since we were always working with everything, we definitely needed to be organized in order to meet our deadlines and have everything we needed to do handed in. And yeah. So proposal for action. Initially was the part of contacting and researching about the NGO and what I wanted to do. And then I attended a lecture of the NGO where everything was introduced on how to deal with the dogs, how to deal with the patients, how to approach people and all of this. And after going to the lecture, I felt much more comfortable with the project and developed my goal. And then I started with the visits, which was the direct part of the action. For the advocacy campaign, I wrote a text for the bulletin and presented on the Parent Coffee. And in order to raise some funds, I sold calendars that the NGO developed for 2017 on the Christmas Bazaar in December. And the result of this was development of friendship and partnership with both the people in the NGO, the dogs, and the patients that we were visiting, because it's like a big family and we were all very united. And also I was able to raise awareness for the NGO and funds, and I think it was very successful. The visit, so SBA, which is the nursing home, is a home for mainly European or descendant of Europeans, and they are constantly alone and on the same routine, just like the orphans in IMC, which are up to 18 children, and they lack of love and don't really socialize a lot because they are not with their families. They are constantly just with nurses or people helping and offering care. However, they are always on the same routine and need some entertainment for them to have more healthy lifestyles and a more agitated life. And fitting the need, I thought that animal therapy was the perfect solution for these kids and these elders, because animal-assisted therapy, which is what AAT stands for, is a scientifically proven technique about the relationships of human with pets. And this is because elders and people in vulnerability and social dependence on care and etc., they project on animals what they are feeling, and this is called projective identification, which causes them to express more their feelings and emotions and engage more with their activities and everything. However, it's all very specific and depends on age and condition and the objectives of the therapy. And so changes from plan. Initially, I wanted to do the visits on Sunday, which I did until the end of the project. I wanted to present an assembly, however, this changed it to the Parents' Coffee. I also wanted to put some posters in school to raise awareness, but instead I wrote a text for the bulletin. And initially I was planning to sell NGO products in school, including many different like shirts and mugs and pens. However, this was reduced only to the calendars in the Christmas Bazaar. And also I wanted to film and make a video of the visits, but Silvana, which is the coordinator of the NGO, preferred not to, and she told me just to stick with the pictures, which is what I did, as you probably see from the presentation. And so now reflection. There are many surprises with the visits and with this project, mainly with the elders and the orphans. The elders, they had many stories, despite what I didn't thought they were more plain. They had a lot of things to tell. They were extremely kind and they had a great memory, so whenever someone didn't come or a dog was missing, they would ask for them, and that's because also they easily attached to us and to the pets. And the orphans were the same, however they for sure had much more energy, a lot of personality, and they were like a big family, so their friendship was something really strong that we could clearly see from the visits, and also easily attached because they lack of attention many times. And also they had a lot of humor. Each patient has a different personality. There are some that love big dogs, small dogs, some that don't like dogs at all. So we had to deal with each person individually in order to have a successful project. I felt uncomfortable sometimes on these projects when there was unexpected actions, especially from the elders, which sometimes were on a bad day and they didn't want to come to the visits. So I felt a little bit worried if they were not enjoying, but generally everyone had a great time when we came. Also dealing with some elders in more severe conditions was really strong thing, considering the emotional part of it, because I got really touched and didn't know really how to deal with these people, but after I learned a lot from it. And also I was scared about the orphans attaching too much, because they would constantly ask me about my family and how it was to have parents, and that was sometimes really hard to deal with, and I didn't want the patients to be sad or scared, so it was one of the biggest challenges for sure. And I learned mainly to manage time, the importance of helping others and how small acts can make the difference, trusting myself and know that I was capable to do this whole project alone. And I also got to know that I work better with the elders than with the children, I think because they have more experience, they're calmer, and the children are, I think, too agitated, and it was more of a challenge for me to deal with them. And I think that the impact that the community did on me was that I learned many things that I will take forever to my life. And I also had a great impact on the community because I was the only young person over there. So everyone saw it as a sort of an inspiration, and the people from the NGO started to talk to me about bringing their children and their nieces to join the project, which was really great news. And last thoughts, my main disappointment I think was that I wanted to sell more products and produce the videos, but for sure the successes outnumber these, which were the visits that were wonderful, the process journal presentations, meeting deadlines that all went well, and the overall experience, which was wonderful. And yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Okay, good.
It's too much to speak in too little time.
I know.
Oh,
All right.
let me start.